like I'm driving a car on ice. I have no real feeling about what's going on at all. Welcome back to the channel. We are on the outskirts of a small village somewhere in Lithuania. We're in the middle of proper farming land here. It's 26 degrees, glorious weather, dusty treks, and there's surely no better way to experience a bit of the Lithuanian countryside than a Lada Niva. In my eyes, there are 3 4x4s that are genuine 4x4s of the people. They're everyday cars that can be bought by the masses. Number 1 is from Italy, that's the Fiat Panda 4x4. Number 2 is the Suzuki Jimny. And third is this, the Lada Niva. And the reason I put these 3 into the same category, they're all genuinely capable 4x4s at a very fair price, simple, and the key, they are all physically small. They're all the size of a little hatchback, genuinely the size of a hatchback. I mean, look at me, I'm 6'1", I'm a little bit above average height, but this isn't remotely big at all. Okay, let's get down to the specs. This model is a 1986 Lada Niva. You can see on the front there, it's still got the Lithuanian flag on, as opposed to the EU flag, because this would have been properly back in Lithuanian times when it was part of the Soviet Empire. This is a 1.6 model that has been changed to the 1.7 because they came out in 3 petrol engine guises, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. The 1.6 is 74 horsepower and the 1.7 is around about 84 horsepower. The weight of this, 1,150 kilograms. That is roughly the weight of a hatchback in modern day terms. So they're really, really light. When these came out, they were amazingly, in some respects, quite advanced for their time. They had independent suspension throughout, and they had a special chassis setup, which was a few years ahead of the rest of the crop. Now, if I start from, I tell you what I'll do, I'll start from a front to back of this, because, no, you know what, there's something even more important I need to do. Monica, if you stand over there and get a side profile shot, because this is important. Right, have a look at the side profile of this car, because the Lada Niva took a lot of inspiration from the Fiat 127. Let's see if I can put a picture of that up. It took inspiration from the Fiat 127, and the Lada engineers, when they built the car, they described the Lada Niva as a Renault 5 on Land Rover suspension. And you can see that shape, the Fiat 127, the Renault 5, whatever you want to call it. And the funny thing is, it's not too different in proportions from that car. I will open up the door, Monica, so you can have a look at this. Looks-wise, I think it's a real timeless classic, isn't it? Those very simple lines, beautifully designed, very understated, borderline elegant. Borderline. I mean, this is a 1986 car. Of course, you're not going to get electric windows. It is, well, there's nothing that describes utilitarian more than this. The key for these cars is, these were, of course, designed and built in Russia, and they had to be, and this is completely essential for these had to be able to survive the toughest, harshest conditions. Minus 40 degrees in the winters, unpaved roads. They had to be able to get to the most remote areas, and the key, if they broke, they had to be fixed by people with even the most minuscule mechanical knowledge. And if they did break, they had to be able to fix by the most simple parts, because in remote areas of Russia, you're not going to be having a huge amount of different electronical parts. So these had to be as simple and as basic as it could get. And in order to do that, they kept things as stripped back as possible. And that's true even today in 2022 when they sell them. It's not a huge difference compared to this 1986 model. What we have, a tape deck. Missing, but there is one. Cigarette lighter. Now, I have no idea what that is. That's a, LPG conversion maybe at some point in its life. Very simple fans. This one has got 83,000 kilometers on the clock. Speedo goes up to 180 kilometers an hour. Very nice, simple, elegant fuel gauge with an oil gauge on the side. This is clearly a covering that's been on. This, you push that way for off-roading, gives more traction like a tractor, and this you push this way for being on the motorways. Look at that gear knob. I've had to put it into first gear just so it doesn't roll away. Rear seats, enough room in the rear, I think, and you can see that everything is just simple, easy to wipe down, even the seats. Look at the material of those, simple, easy to wipe down, and the roof itself, it's had its fair share of cigarette burns, I'm sure, in the past. Now, I am not expecting this car to be incredibly good on the road, but I just want to see what is the character like of a car that I've wanted to test out for such a long time. What's it really like to drive? Is it genuinely a usable car, even a 1986 model in today, 2022? Is it something I think, this is a thoroughly modern, usable classic? Let's try and find out. Now, to start it, very simple. Of course, you've got the key and you've also got this switch here. So push the switch down, turn the key, and it starts surprisingly easily. They came out, unlike a lot of 4x4s, they came out with 3 petrol engines and just 1 diesel engine. And although I'm not going to lie to you and pretend it's smooth necessarily, the engine does feel probably slightly less tractor-like than a diesel of its era from about 1986. Handling, it's borderline scary. I'll be honest, it feels like I'm driving a car on ice. I have no real feeling about what's going on at all. Brakes, not great, although that may, to be fair, just be that it needs new brakes. It feels as agricultural as you can possibly ever imagine, to the point of being borderline unpleasant. Yet it's got a simple, rugged, dependable nature to it that you just feel as you're driving it. I don't quite know how to explain it. When these came out in 1978, I think they debuted at the Paris Motor Show, 40% of all 4x4s sold in Europe were Lada Nivas. These were a sales success when they came out, not just in Russia. In 1998, it was the first car ever, or the first vehicle ever, to reach base camp at Everest, and in the 1981 Paris-Dakar Rally, a Lada Niva came third. So these have pedigree. They're famous for being able to beat, especially off-road, vehicles that are 3, 4, 5 times the price. I can imagine, give this a bit of work, give it a bit of love, it would be a perfectly pleasant car to drive. I don't want to lie to you and pretend that it's the most relaxing thing, because I've lost about 1 kilo in sweat with the lack of power steering. It's extremely heavy. But look at where we are right now. If there's no turning coming up further ahead, we're in quite a lot of trouble. Do you know what I now have after driving this just for about half an hour or so? I have dreams of buying one of these and renovating it, because it has the most glorious utilitarian charm I've ever seen. Oh,
that's it, yeah.
Oh dear. Let me just pull over here. Okay, we've got a situation. I've now somehow been given the most beautiful opportunity to test out the Niva's 4x4 credentials. Sorry, Monica's trapped herself. It's one of these old push. Oh, look, this is a push one, and this is a press one. So they're completely different. Okay, Monica, let's have a look at this. doesn't look like much, but because it's someone else's,
Yeah.
and it may need a service, I'm scared.
No.
Oh, Monica, just flip the camera here. Look
It's
at
a
this.
no-go.
From this angle here, in the cropped field, or in the uncropped field, how good does the Niva look with those simple, clean lines throughout, like no overstyling or styling for styling's sake. It's really beautifully proportioned, actually, from every angle, I'd say. I would say this is definitely the best looking car Lada ever made. I would argue that it's possibly one of the best looking cars that came out of Russia or the Soviet Union. It's really, really beautifully well proportioned from every angle. And of course it is inspired by those beautiful European cars, the Fiat 127 and even Lada engineers saying the Renault 5, and you can see that so clearly. I have had a look though. Have a look at this, Monica. I just noticed this after I was talking to you.
Wow, what's that?
This, I think, at some point had an LPG conversion made in Italy. So that's probably had some kind of LPG conversion, but the simplicity of everything everywhere, and also the thinness of all of the panels. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, do we turn around or try it?
We turn around.
This isn't anything bad about Lada Niva. If this was one in tip-top condition, it would fly through there with no issue at all. But for now, I'll get a workout in trying to turn it in this point here. Clearly, a lot of people have had the same idea. I'll now demonstrate how difficult it is to turn a car with no power steering. I've got too soft. When I passed my test, I never had a car with power steering, but now it feels like a slightly daunting prospect even to do this. Let's see how easy it is. You know, I'm getting used to it actually. I really am. I've had it about 40 minutes or so and already it's starting to feel more natural. Everything I do, changing the gears, pushing it down into reverse like that, you can change this from, I think they call it high range and low range. It's starting to all make sense now. One more fun fact. Some cars like the Lamborghini Diablo have the coolest names you could ever imagine. Niva translates to cropped field.
Really?
Nothing exciting there. Oi. I had a look online on the UK classifieds to see how many of these are actually still available. At the time of filming this, there are only 3 currently available, and of those 3, 2 of them are unroadworthy. Only one of them has an MOT, so it's legally drivable, and that is £5,000. So there are very few left. In reality, if you are looking for an old Lada Niva, you're probably going to have to go to Poland, where you may be able to pick one up for €2,000 to €3,000. However, I will be the first to admit that these are absolutely not in style at the moment, with everything going on with Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. So this is absolutely not me promoting this vehicle as something you should go out and buy. It's purely a vehicle that I've been curious about driving, and it's very much part of Lithuania's history. Monica remembers growing up as a child and these still being everywhere. So Monica and I have made a donation to the Ukrainians' cause. We are absolutely behind the Ukrainians, and of course, if you would like to make a donation, I will include all of the details in the written description below. But thank you so much everyone for coming along. I mean, this vehicle has been around for 40 or so years. It's timeless styling, and it will go down as an all-time classic, but who knows what the future holds for this vehicle with everything that's been going on. I do know recently, actually, Renault have sold a huge, or their entire stake in the Lada company for a nominal fee of 1 ruble, just to get out of the country. So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for this. But thank you so much everyone for coming along. Please do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.